There is nobody else on the planet like this guy right here. Watch as Ricky Gervais just brutally destroys woke culture. You guys are not going to want to miss this.
About offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right, you know? It's... offence is about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people are offended by equality. So what? You know, so you can't second-guess people. If you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues, and sometimes you deal in irony, and some people don't get that, but, you know, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing, you know, because I'm not doing it for the 200 egos in the room. I'm doing it for the 200 million people watching around who aren't winning awards, who aren't millionaires. And freedom of speech is so important these days. I've reached the age now where I don't care anymore. It's a sin. Not to joke about all the bad things, that's a waste, because that's exactly what we should joke about. You can get sued in this country for saying someone's gay if they're not, you know, which is a homophobic law, because you can't be sued the other way around. You can't be sued for saying someone's not gay if they are, which seems unfair, doesn't it? Relax. I'm going to be nice tonight. I've changed. Not as much as Bruce Jenner. And I found out my crime was that I dead-named her. Now, I'd never heard that term, you know, before a day after the Golden Globes, and that was saying her old name and even acknowledging that she used to be a man. But she did. I saw him on the Olympic Games. It was decathlon. It was in everything. He was all over the place. Shot put and pole vault. He won a medal. He was famous. He was on telly all the time. But, you know, a big, famous man with a huge... I don't know, but I mean, I'm guessing he probably... he's a big... But...
So you got to love Ricky Gervais, because the way he exposes these woke people is just so funny, and it actually makes you realise just how crazy it is. And to be honest, there's nothing they can do about it. He's too big to cancel, just like Dave Chappelle. Anyway, he never normally gets involved in politics, but in this next clip he actually is talking about politics, because even he has had enough of how corrupt these politicians really are. So let's check it out.
The worst thing is the in charge do what they want, and you know what, I can, you know, I see all these people saying all the parties they were having and what all the stuff they were doing, and people saying, you know, that was the day I couldn't see my mum in hospital, or I couldn't go to my dad's funeral, and because the people in charge, the posh, privileged people in charge, were acting like Charlie Sheen. I mean, really rubbing salt in the wound. And as I say, I don't get political, but they're all shit.
And the reason...
It's funny, too, because the exact same thing happened in America. Gavin Newsom was out throwing parties in California when people were not allowed to visit their grandmother at the nursing home. It's absolutely crazy how the politicians have rules for thee and not for me. I love how Ricky Gervais actually calls us out, because a lot of people in Hollywood would never dare speak out about a politician because they don't want the backlash that may or may not ensue. Ricky Gervais, this man doesn't care. He's going to say whatever the heck he feels. If you're being a hypocrite, he's going to call you a hypocrite. I freaking love that.
It seems it's the same old shit. They're not for the people. They'll say one thing to get in power, and then once they're in power, they'll do a complete 180 and do something else. So anyway, let's get straight into the video.
Pay tribute to Jeremy Corbyn, who's a friend as well as a colleague.
You wouldn't call Jeremy Corbyn a friend?
No. Friend as well as a colleague.
Yeah.
We have to make the case for freedom of movement. We don't want open borders. Freedom of movement has gone and it's not coming back.
Cutting off power, cutting off water.
Well, I think that Israel does have that right. I was not saying that Israel had the right to cut off water, food, fuel or medicine. Wounded by the media, the Sun in this city, a hurt for this city. And I certainly won't be giving any interviews to the Sun during the course of this campaign.
Did you write an article for some newspaper the other day? Surely that's not going to gain you any support across the Northwest.
Would you write for them again, Sir Keir?
I would do, yeah.
Can you guarantee that under your leadership, the 2019 Labour commitments to nationalise water, energy, rail, the Royal Mail, they'll all be in Labour's next election manifesto?
I've made that commitment.
Bullshit. Will you nationalise the big six energy companies, yes or no?
No.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
When are we going to stop taking went to Eton as a qualification to run the country? I mean, now. So that's why I'm doing this as well, because I've noticed all around, you know, there's a lot of annoyance and frustration, totally justified as well, misinformation, anger, but I think the next pandemic is going to be like anxiety and depression, you know. God knows how it affects like teenagers who have had their, you know, some of the best years of their life sort of taken away. And college, I didn't go to college to study. You know what I mean? 3 years living at home, doing things on Zoom. That's not my idea. That's not my idea of a college experience.
It's kind of funny because the politicians love telling you how you should live and you should make cutbacks and times are going to be hard for you. But then 40% of all British Prime Ministers went to Eton, which is what Ricky talked about, which if you don't know, you may not be from the UK. It's basically a private school and it costs £63,000 a year to send your kid there. Imagine that. These rich people are spending double the average UK salary to send one child to this school per year. And then these kids grow up to be politicians and prime ministers and pretend they're one of you. Like, yeah, we're here to help the working class. But this isn't just the UK. This is all over the Western world. They'll pretend that, oh look, I know you're struggling, even though we caused it. But don't worry, we're the government and we're here to help you. Meanwhile, they're living a life of luxury. Check this out.
Macron in France takes his $80,000 watch off under the table while he's talking to people about tightening up and about how this has to be done.
Et il y a les blocages, et les blocages, il faut pouvoir les lever quand ils... C'est pourquoi j'ai demandé de négocier, additionner, ce que nous avons pu faire.
Come on, man. At least Macron was self-aware to realize he was being a hypocrite. Like, if you ask Ricky Gervais how he relates to the common man, he's gonna tell you, I was a common man the first 40, 50 years of my life, but now I've got hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. It's almost like this man was one of us. He made it, and now he has the liberty and the freedom to say whatever the heck he wants. He doesn't have to worry about cancellation because he's got enough money for his family and generations to come. Like, if Ricky Gervais was working a 9-to-5 job, do you think he'd be saying the same things he's saying now? Absolutely not. They would come for his head. They would fire him immediately. It's the fact that he has the money, which gives him the ability to speak in front of millions of people and not fear cancellation.
Have you heard of that? Cultural appropriation, the latest no-no. Now, again, in my day, it was considered a good thing to swap ideas with other cultures, with other nations, to share things with other races, to assimilate. It was the opposite of racist. Now it's racist. Gwen Stefani got in trouble in her last video because she had her blonde hair in dreadlocks. People go, no, black people invented dreadlocks, you can't have them, you're white, that's racist. Jamie Oliver got in trouble when he put out authentic jerk chicken recipe. People go, no, black people invented that, you can't have it, you're white, that's racist. Now, black people, they use the N-word, don't they? We invented that. That's the one, isn't it? That's the one.
See, this is why a lot of people love Ricky Gervais, because he can take all these topics that if you watch anybody else debate them, you'd be like pulling your hair out thinking, why are these people so dumb? They're so delusional. And then he just makes a joke about it. And it's funny. Check this out, okay? So there was a food bank funded by taxpayers. And the woman who ran it basically banned white people. And because of that, it was forced to close. She put a sign outside that said, the food inside is specifically for black and indigenous people only. So all I'm gonna say to that is, if you're stopping poor people from getting free food, you're not on the right side of history. You're part of the problem. Now, as this article is technically on the topic of minorities, let me play this last clip of Ricky Gervais and his opinion on what it's like to be a minority.
But these people are virtue signalling. They're trying to bring people down to raise their own status. And they say it's because, no, we're protecting minorities. Like, they're basically saying minorities haven't got a sense of humour, which is so patronising. And I get that as well, to what it's like to be outnumbered. In this country, we're still only 5% black, 5% Asian, 5% LGBTQ, you know, tiny numbers. Now, I'm a white, heterosexual multimillionaire, right? There's less than 1% of us. Do I whine? No. Do I don't mind. I just get on with it. Come on, Rick. Come on, Rick. Just keep I'm like Rosa Parks. Do you know what I mean? I'm like... Except I fought for the right to never have to take a seat on a bus. But...
You see what I'm talking about right there? He plays into the fact he's a multi-millionaire. But just think of it. Can you name any other comedians, if they were in Ricky Gervais' shoes, would have the audacity to say some of the things he says? I've watched a lot of entertainers throughout my day. I have never seen anybody like Ricky Gervais because he just has a lack of fear. He's gonna say whatever the heck he wants to say, and if it offends you, he doesn't care. He's gonna say it. He's not trying to seek approval from you and I. He's only looking for approval within himself. And you have to applaud that because that is a rare quality in the world today. You need more people like Ricky Gervais today actually calling out these hypocritical politicians who say one thing and do another. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. And do you know of any other comedians or entertainers or performers or singers who have the same quality that Ricky Gervais has? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear that. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.